It all started with an admittingly daring project that I proposed to my professor and dean. After I completed my module on folklore, I asked my anthropology professor, Professor, I was meaning to ask you about a possible independent project. Oh, yes, please tell me all about it, the professor said, motioning me to take a seat in front of their desk. I sat down and said, So I wanted to do an independent project on mythology and occult traditions, especially about how they are incorporated into cultures. My professor nodded with interest. Interesting. I can possibly allow that to go into your student credit. You may want to pitch this to the dean though. Of course, I'll make sure to let him know about it. My confidence was only a veneer to my uncertainty. I know the dean on campus probably be more skeptical. I had gotten my things and walked over to the administration building, a short walk away. I came to the dean's office and said, I wanted to go over an independent project that I'm doing for my course. And what might it be about then? Mythology, the cult, and how cultures use them in their own life. My smile quickly faded. The presence of the dean was almost enough to wilt an entire flower shop. He squinted at me. In my honest opinion, sir, it is just sinful to entertain lowly tourism. The dean huffed. I don't see how you need to do an entire study on mythical creatures and nonsensical hoo-hoo and ha-ha. I puffed up my chest and argued, if making up things was a selling technique, there would be a constant lawsuits for false advertising, and added, in all due respect, sir, this is a passion project of mine. It's not some cheap way to get my grades. The dean nodded and said, a passion project, certainly, used to earn a rather useless degree. At that point, I felt my blood boiling from the dean's words. I got tight-chested to hear that he was invalidating all I have done. The old man just had to fit in more salt to the wound. Allow me to give you some advice, and I mean this in a sincere way, as an educational professional. He then said, I accepted you into this university because your background would have brought a good reputation to the campus. A bullied little boy in high school ascends to high learning to make something of himself. Unfortunately, you didn't choose any courses that would have actually opened the door for careers such as law, medical science, or business. Most smart kids follow the salaries, but there is always that one plucky dreamer who desires to find something that will change the world. The dean then said, my point here is that you only got accepted into this prestigious school due to your sob story which the people ate up. It doesn't change the fact that you will never succeed in your life unless you start living in the real world, so I won't be funding your project. I glared at him. I no longer gave a single rat ass about what he thought of me. I don't want your money anyway. Then, what did you want from me? I said, I want time to do my study and research. I can find my own resources. The dean looked amused, as if he was in some bet that he was interested to see the play out of this outcome. He said, time is all you really have. By all means, take as much time as you need. I got out of the office and went straight to the campus library, checking every book of myths, theology, and occultism. The librarian looked shocked to see that I was checking out 30 books all at once, as did the librarian at the public library downtown when I borrowed 27 books. I carried all of the books to my dorm where I started reading maybe 2 or 4 books at a time and cross-referencing them. I had notes posted on the wall like how a conspiracy theorists would try to connect the dots. The first thing I started on was occultism and the origins on the concept of magic. A lot of shared concept is that magic requires intention, a ritual, and a divine connection. I'm an agnostic and I never had a religious experience before. I used to dabble in cult magic when I was in high school, but I rarely did anything supernatural, and anything supernatural didn't happen in my life. I then heard my phone ringing and I picked it up. Hello? Hi honey, how you have been? You got package earlier today, but there is not returning address anywhere. Can I send it to you? I said, yeah, send it to me mom. It might be from Seb, since grandma was meaning to give me a birthday present. Alright dear, bye bye, take care. The next day, I was getting out of a class and heading toward my dorm, seeing a plain cardboard box at my door. This must be the package my mom was talking about. I brought it with me into my dorm and put it on my desk. Opening the box, I found 2 letters and a leather-bound book. I read the first letter. A strange man from the village told me to send you this, but never explained why. Grandma still says sorry for not giving you something for your birthday, but she sends her love, Seb. I opened and read the second letter. To whom this may concern, we have heard of your encounter with the creature that Christmas Eve in Norway. We also know you seek the truth, and we offer this very knowledge. We only hope you accept the price for what you are about to discover and learn for the rest of your life. Signed, the Ordo Occultus Virtuum, that meant, in Latin, the hidden truth. I picked up the book from the box and opened it. Only seeing one written page, it said, Awakening. Tonight you will be visited. You will not know when, how, nor by whom. You will not see them, but do not look at them. By the time you wake up, this book shall reveal many secrets. The rest you must find out on your own. It was a very weird and very creepy. I closed the book and set it aside on a shelf, but the thought kept me wondering. Was this a trap? Was I going to be kidnapped? It kept me all night before I passed out. I woke up in my bed. The room was completely dark. I couldn't move. My legs and my arms felt paralyzed. I tried to jolt myself up, but to no avail. A voice, deep and echoing, through my head came in a language I did not understand. I had the phrases translated by my language colleague Amanda, so this is how the exchange went. You cannot see me, but you shall hear me. Are you the boy who seeks to know what hiddens in the night? I nodded, unable to speak. The voice replied, I have seen your past, your present, and many of your futures. You were not destined to read the words of other men, as you saw one of my withered kin. The room began to grow darker. We went by many names in the tongues of men long dead. Alfar, Fae, the hidden folk. All names that men had given us and not our own. See, through seeker, and know why we hide and kill. I felt myself shift in the air as if going down a steep drop. I found myself in a scene of a village on fire. Many of the villagers were the light elves, fleeing from the knights on horseback. I heard screaming, shouting as the knights charged down and slaughtered them all. I noticed one of the knights coming towards me. Go to hell with you, spawn of Satan! I ran as fast as I could away from the knight's horse. I sprinted into the woods and hid beneath a small cliff. The voice said, Men blamed us for their suffering, seeing threats within and without. I got out of my hiding spot and ran to where a few of the other elvish villagers were heading to. I heard many of them shout, To the boats! Everyone, to the boats now! I followed their voices, seeing a handful of Viking boats being boarded. I wished I was fast enough, but I felt something plunge through my chest, blood rising to my throat, and saw the blade through my chest. I heard the screams of the villagers before everything went dark. The pain still lingered. It was agonizing, the voice said. The pain of my people is more than a blade. Truth seeker. Most of us were able to escape, but more were killed after the death of the very king in those ancient days, who sworn to protect us. Foolish were we to trust the word of man. I felt like I was dying, my skin burning, my throat drowning, and my very soul escaping from my body. Tears ran like rivers. The voice revealed itself as he appeared before me. A tall man with a crown of antlers and the eyes that glowed and saw into your soul. He emitted a dim light and did not move his lips. He said, "Remember my face, truth seeker? Remember the faces of my kind and how they died." I tried to get myself to sit up, but felt unable to. The light elf smirked. "I know your reasons as why you resist, but you can never refuse what you have been seeking for most of your short life. Our deal is written in the threads of time." I managed to speak only a few words. "What do I have to do?" The Light Elf King answered, "You will give my kind their forests back, by any means. Fail and your world and your family and all you hold dear will die by fire and ash." He then said, "Your grandmother will be spared as her time is coming. She will live forever in peace in Altheum with her mother and father, one of my half-kin and another of man." I couldn't believe it. But what was my grandmother hiding? How could she keep this from us? The Elf King said, "She had told you when you were a child, but you forget about it." The Elf Kings grew angry and darker. "Unlike your grandmother, you will live forever to serve retribution for our king. Your youth shall fade, and you will suffer watching as all you cared for wither and die before your eyes. Thousands of deaths will pass before you finally give us our home back and make peace between man and Alpha." I spoke. "How?" The Light Elf King answered one final time. "Your fate is not a blessing, but it's a gift and a curse. You will learn soon, my child." I woke up in a gasp for air, the pain vanishing, and the room was silent, the air still and light. I looked out of my window and heard whispers in my head swimming all around. The next morning I found my book full of spells, rituals, and other things I might expand upon later. I grinned and she said, "Some of this is Norse, while other parts are in the form of Irish Gaelic. That's pretty weird that these dreams have languages you haven't heard before." "No kidding. Thanks for translating it all for me, dear friend. Now I have to make sense of this." I knew what it meant. I had to find out how to make it up to the elves by bringing back their forests, and I think the book I find in my possession is a way to help me do it. I cannot sleep. I have lost any sort of appetite. I hear the voices of the elves in my head. Every night I feel oddly drawn to go back to Norway again, and I want to make sure my grandmother and Seb are okay. I want to be there when grandmother passes because she didn't tell me this, and I feel betrayed even though I still love her. To those who are reading this, make sure to plant a tree in the forest somewhere when you can, and still make sure not to go near them at night or follow any lights and sounds. We stole their forests and they want them back. I never mentioned the name of the Light Elf King for a reason. If you speak of his name, he will come to you and you will pay the price. You better hope he gives you the same fate as me, because most end up rotting in the weeds and the woods. Thank you for listening to this story. This is the second part of last story. If this video hits 30 likes, I will release the third and final part. Please like, subscribe, and also check the amazing author link down below. Have a great night, and this is Dr. Green, out.